with the critical success of The Smile, do we even need to see Radiohead again? It doesn't really matter. Are we actually just sort of seeing version 2? And that's what we've got to be expecting from here on end.
Yeah, look, that's a great question, mate. I think, first of all, if you've been in a band for 30 years, I can only imagine the challenges to kind of constantly be able to reinvent yourself, not only for studio albums, but for live performances, especially when you've released albums which many consider would be in the top 10 of all time, such as OK Computer. So you'd be constantly having that reference point whenever you are going to release something new. So I think for Jonny Greenwood and Thom Yorke to take the different direction of The Smile has completely reinvigorated both of them for this new direction, which critics and fans alike are absolutely enjoying. And I think there's going to be a whole new bunch of fans that are going to enjoy this new direction that the band is taking. So I think there is a time and a place for Radiohead. Of course, the drummer's going to want them to get back together because he probably needs the coin. I mean, I see Radiohead as a band that will probably come back every 4 or 5 years as the original lineup and probably headline Glastonbury and do a bit of a sideshow tour there, and we'll keep the fans happy. They're not going to be playing Creep anytime soon. But I don't think Radiohead are dead. I can't see them releasing another album anytime soon. And if they did, it would be fantastic. I can't imagine what it would be like when you've released so many albums and you're on a roll with the new venture of The Smile, mate. What's your thought? What's going to happen here?
Yeah, they could. I mean, it could be the next album that Thom Yorke, Jonny Greenwood ends up putting out. Could be Radiohead. I kind of don't see the point, though. Like, I think that The Smile has been fantastic. It's a continuation of the legacy. Look, maybe a new Radiohead will add more to the legend that is Radiohead, but I just feel as if this vehicle is giving them much, much more creative freedoms than just sort of staying in the radio, whatever that would have ended up looking like. And in some ways, if you really think about it, Al, Radiohead have been kind of decoupling since about 2009. So after In Rainbows, they started going on their separate ways. So you sort of see Philip Selway was doing solo material, starting his solo career. It's very good actually to listen to. You should definitely check it out. I actually think he's quite talented. But yeah, we had the 2 other albums in last decade. They were good albums, but I think really the era of Radiohead really ended in 2009, and it's really sort of a continuation of that. And then what you're seeing now with The Smile is a sort of we thought to believe a semi-permanent vehicle that I think is turning out to be a permanent vehicle for the creative output of Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood. And I'm just not sure. It doesn't feel like that there's any need. Now, will fans want Radiohead to come back? I think you're right. I think it's sort of like, in a lot of ways, I'll put it to you, it's probably very similar to what's happened with Blur and the Gorillaz. I don't know. Yeah. Is that as good or close as a thing?
That's a really interesting and accurate, in my opinion, comparison. Really, I mean, Blur's, they get back together. I mean, they did release a new album last year, and it was pretty good. The critics raved about it. So I don't know. Will Radiohead follow?
Well, exactly right. But I think with Blur, no matter how good an album that was, if you go to a Blur concert, you're not expecting to hear too many tunes from that new album. And that could have been the best album of all time, or their best album. But I think that people would much rather listen to the 90s output. So I think it's a smart move. And in a lot of ways, there's not too many bands like Radiohead that could actually do that, because they've just got such a solid body of work and a very sort of strong cult following.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is very interesting.
And I think the exciting thing for a band like Radiohead is they can down tools for a while, do this new side project and, go this different direction, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Radiohead could just reform and play, small gigs somewhere and just kind of, I don't know, it might completely reinvent the way they play certain songs, give it a few years off. I mean, 30 years of touring with the same band, 30 years in any kind of job is pretty full on. So I've got no qualms about the fact that they're going to down tools for a little while, in my opinion. And I'm really excited about this new album from The Smile.
It's a wait and see. Look, if it does happen, it's going to be after August 2024. Are people going to be really up for that? I think I guess the final thing is that, if you've gone your separate ways, 5 ways, it's actually, more and more difficult to try and get the band back together. So maybe we just have to watch this space and sort of see what that looks like, if it's a new album or it's potentially some reunion concerts, because it has been a few years since they've even toured together. So that's a very interesting conversation. Let us know in the comments what you feel about that, as to whether, would you actually want Radiohead to get back together? Is it really worth it? Or do we think that it's just a formality and we're going to see it very soon?